Welcome movie fans, and thank you for clicking on my review for Noah Baumbach's White Noise, the first of the director's works not to be based on an original screenplay from himself, but it's rather the adaptation of a book by Don DeLillo of the same name, where we follow Jack Gladney, a professor of Hitler studies at the college on the hill, husband to Babette, and father to 4 children / stepchildren whose life is torn asunder by a chemical spill from a rail car that releases an airborne toxic event, forcing Jack to confront his worst fear, his own mortality. Now, for those who don't know, I am currently at the Venice Film Festival. That's why this location is unfamiliar. The lighting is not necessarily the best, but I hope you understand. And White Noise was the film that opened the festival yesterday, and I went into it rather excited. I'm a huge Noah Baumbach fan because the works he delivers are always so relatable from a character standpoint. You always see people like yourself or like people you recognize from your life on screen. That usually comes from his trademark character writing, but now with an adaptation, that is somewhat lost. And while I really appreciate the freshness and the quirkiness of all these characters with their oddball sense of humor, personally, there was something missing for me. There was an emotional connection that was just not present in this film. And so at first it takes a little bit of time to adjust. But what I found fascinating is how Baumbach can blend in all these different genres into one film, because White Noise, and I'm not sure how faithful this is to the book because I've never read it, it's really a movie of multiple genres. At first, it's an oddball, dysfunctional family dramedy that becomes a road trip apocalyptic film, and then it becomes a horror drama focused on marriage and mortality. And while it's fascinating to see how all these genres, all these tones blend in and become the one that comes after, I don't know if it enhanced the experience, but rather took away from it. But before I continue with my thoughts on White Noise, let me know if you're excited for it. Let me know if you checked it out at the festival or if you found it on Netflix by the time you find this video. Anything and everything down there. And if you're enjoying this review, if you love movies and TV, this is the place to be. So consider clicking that subscribe button and you won't miss any future conversations on your favorite movies and TV. Where in my reviews I usually start with the positives, go into the negatives, and finish with my final thoughts. In this one, I actually want to dive into the different genres or smaller stories within the bigger story when it comes to White Noise, and that starts us off with the dysfunctional family dramedy. I love this family. I love their dynamic. They're also unique and quirky and adorable. They don't necessarily react the way you expect to certain things when certain events happen to one another, the way these children talk to their parents and vice versa. It's just so out there and unique to this film, and it really brings out Adam Driver's comedic chops, where this entire character is throughout the film trying not to look nervous, trying to look more apathetic and simple and focused. He's very dexterous, he's very to the point, he doesn't allow emotions to overcome reason, and that's exactly what Adam Driver excels at. Subtle expressions in the face of overwhelming situations. And Greta Gerwig is just lovable to see her again on camera. She is wonderful and shares great chemistry with Driver. It's a very theatrical performance that at first was jarring to see, but the more the film goes on, the more you see it fitting into the tone. When it comes to the apocalyptic road trip part of the film, that's when I found the comedy and drama to flow more naturally and blend in with each other. But I also found this is where the most pointless stuff in the film happens, but most importantly, it's where I felt the film was most trapped. The cast is having a blast, Noah Baumbach's creativity and sensibilities are all on display on screen, but this is a kind of story, particularly directed by Noah Baumbach, that I felt should, could, and wanted to be a musical. And the film does have an elongated musical sequence at the end credits, but I felt like all the oddball stylings of this film when it comes to the characterizations, when it comes to the structure of the story, the tonalities plural of the story all coalescing together, this film should have been a musical by all means. It just feels like it's screaming to bust out a musical number and some lyrics that would fit right into a Noah Baumbach production with this unique family dynamic that blends in so many sensibilities of traditional American family and modern American family. It's another aspect that I really like in the film, that it isn't trapped in a specific time period. There are certain elements that make you think this is the 80s. There are other elements that make you think this is modern day. And so it feels like a timeless, dysfunctional family story. And finally, you have the horror portion of the film at the end, where it is an intimate family story. And while I found it the most fascinating, particularly because it's so different for a Noah Baumbach, that keeps with that unique styling when it comes to the characters, the way they speak, their mannerisms and all that. But I felt like it was so distanced and disconnected from what had happened up until that point. I was always interested, but the constant changing of tones, changing of genres, while interesting in concept, kept taking me out of the story in execution. And so I just found myself frustrating, because still in this portion of the film, it kept wanting to be a musical. It just felt like the film kept battling itself on wanting to be an adaptation of this book that, again, I've never read, so I don't know the tonality, the personality of that story, and wanting to be a Noah Baumbach film. This feels like a passion project from him. So I'm predicting he wanted to be rather faithful to this story, but it just didn't coalesce together naturally and to its fullest potential for me. The themes all come together with narration. It's very obvious the way it deals with mortality, with family, and all that. But I just saw the potential for more. I just saw a lot of the things that the film wanted to be and could have been. So I'm sad to say that White Noise never fully clicked for me. Baumbach's trademark family dynamic is presented with a quirky blend of tradition and modernity, but its several parts feel jarringly distant from one another, with themes that are clear in intention but lost in translation. It's ambitious and interesting, but it's never engaging. I'm giving White Noise a C+. But that's just my review of White Noise. Let me know what you think of it once you see it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more Venice Film Festival 2022 coverage coming very soon. I hope to see you there, and thanks to my channel members for always supporting the channel. So until the next one, love each other and love the movies.